Okay, this is a normal casing for a light. Of course, the shield and everything down below is gone, but this is the top of it. And here is what you got. You got your photoconductor, which is basically a thing that senses the light. So daytime, nighttime, you know, it can shut off. This lamp here, I've already converted it, but this photoconductor, you see it unplugs right out of the top of the lamp there. See, I've got them socket holes there, and that fits right. It fits right into them sockets. Now I put tape over it to cover the eye, and now this comes right off. Okay. This is the actual photoconductor. See the bottom there? Got a little eye that senses the light and turns it off. This was the case that was over it. Got like a little area back there that, you know, you adjust it, you turn it which way, sideways, for to adjust when it turns on and off. But I had that covered up so it would work at all times. But anyhow, I'm going to be completely taking them wires right out of the circuit. See, you can't just unplug this and expect the light to work for a grow light. Here's what it looks like inside of it. Don't drop it. Alright, quit spinning. Okay. See, here's your there's your ballast right down there. If you were to pull that screw and that screw, you can yank the whole mess, yank the whole ballast right out of there. Now down in the bottom there, that's the wiring for that sensor, which all I've got to do is take it apart from these other wires and directly hook them up to the ballast setup here. This right here is an igniter, and you got to have one of them. Now a lot of different units you can have like a capacitor in there, but this here, basically, you don't need a capacitor. This ballast only has these 3 wires coming out of it, and they basically run the whole show. So you don't need a capacitor in there. It's made for 120 volt, you know, house current. It's a typical yard light that they make, you know, in the United States. So you can come across these pretty easy. And this here, the way I wired it up, I just took an old extension cord and run it in place of, you know, hooked it to the input for the house current. So you got your house current coming in right, you know, right in this area here. And going out to the ballast, when I pulled the bulb off, because the bulb was just mounted to a piece of metal up on here, when I pulled the bulb off, I just run a piece of house wire here. There's certain specs depending on you know, how many watts your bulb's got and how many feet you're going to be running it or whatever. But generally, if you're doing like a grow room or whatever, the main thing isn't to worry so much, unless you got like a whole bunch of bulbs you're hooking all into, you know, the same circuit. Then you got a different situation. But if you're running this with your bulb coming off of it, basically the wire size is determined by the wattage of your bulb. And I've actually got a chart with all the different shit on there. I don't know if I'll even bother worrying about that right now. Maybe some other time. But this little house wire works just fine, and it just runs straight over and connects to the socket for the bulb. So nothing to it, and that way you can move your bulb up and down or whatever. And so that's basically, I just wanted you to see what the inside of this mess looks like. Whole lot of daggone wires all up in there. Now you can yank this whole mess out and mount it into a can, you know, and use that instead of this. I got this where I'm just mounting it to the side of my cabinet right now. I ain't worried about doing all that yet. But you can either make a can yourself, or you can take like some old computers that are fried and grab the box out of them for their power supply, and you could just change this up inside of there, you know, and use that. And most of them computer power supplies, they've got a they got a fan, you know, it's not made for 110 volts, but you can buy 110 volt fans, little ones like that fit right in there. You can change it right out with the little 12 volt fan they got in there or whatever, and just run it straight, you know, straight to your cord. Hook it straight up off your input cord, the main power supply, so you don't even need nothing, you know, to change up the voltage or nothing, and run it right like that. But so that's what that baby looks like anyhow. And this photoconductor, when you take it completely out of the circuit and rewire it, which I've got like a little cheat diagram for this particular one. Now they do a lot of different wiring ups on different HPSs, especially if you got like a bigger transformer for bigger ones. They got like different voltage input and outputs where they can match the you know, voltage for the amp output or whatever. But this one here is just basic, and they're easy to get your hands on, so and it's easy to convert to. I've got a 400 watt one too that I've done the same thing with, and it's got like the transformer with a bunch of multi-tap outputs and everything. But anyhow, that was just a brush up on that.